There was a small glitch in the video in the last video, so let me start from where I had left off in the last one. So as I said, so this films had some of these characteristics, like they did not have star actors, they were independent, and they also lacked songs and dance like normative other Hindi cinema or other commercial regional cinema as well. So these newcomers could actually dream of an alternate cinema because of the fact that FFC was there to give out loan. So this majority of these directors actually started their career in the way that the FFC was a savior for them, and thus they could think independently, they could think in alternate ways, and their cinema thus represented that thinking of their mind, that their cinema would be different, their cinema would be parallel to what was being made in Bollywood, let's say. So most films that this alternate cinema directors made were something which were contrarian to what the audience were used to. So the audience was not used to this kind of a cinema. Some of the cinema, yes, made commercial success, but most of them found it very hard to make a place in the minds of the people. So commercially they were not successful, but they were saved by the fact that FFC was giving out loans on a very easy terms. So the way in which these films were made was something unthinkable for the Indian audience. So Indian audience, it was a jerk moment in the cinematic history, and that's why this moment in history in Indian cinema is very important. Bankable stars were not there, masala ingredients were not there, and thus the audience did not have anything to look forward to. So they could not come to the terms with the fact that the script was the main star in these films, and thus most of these films flopped badly in the box office. Many film distributors refused to actually screen these films in cinema theaters, and thus there was this need of distributorship that was being felt during this period, this decade of 1969 to 79. The government started to think about it, the directors started to think about it, the FFC started to think about it, because many of these films that they made did not find distributors. Distributors were not, because they would suffer losses actually, and most of the cinema halls were filled with commercial cinema during this period. In 1980, the government then decided to also give loans to build theaters in large numbers in both urban and rural areas. Now this is something very, very important, because the need for more theaters was felt. Before this, as we have seen, the Parsis built theaters during pre-independence and post-independence. So some of the big urban centers had theaters. Theaters was a capitalist investment. Theater was an investment of profit. Theater was where big producers actually invested money, and those were mainly focused on the big urban centers of India in those days. So there was no theater viewing experience in the rural areas. This lack of theaters for the masses was felt, and the government then decided to promote theater as for film viewing, and thus they started to give out loans to entrepreneurs who could go and make theaters in both urban and rural areas, so that these films could find audience and more audience. So cinema viewing culture was promoted by the government also through this venture. It was not only to save those alternate cinema films, but it is one of the reasons of how government decided to promote film and film viewing culture in India. Now another important institute that the government built was, you would all know, the FTII, the Film and Television Institute of India. Now apart from FFC, now FFC was in the corporate side of things, it was giving out loans, it was a financial corporation. The training part of cinema and how to promote cinema through people who were trained in the art was provided again by the government. So the government created this institute, and around the same time that FFC was created, and the first batch passed out in 1963. So these people trained in editing, cinematography, direction, all of this highly skilled area of filmmaking process, for the first time had formal education in these disciplines, and thus we see an influx of trained people into the cinema industry, and this was made possible by FTII. And by the decade of 1979, almost 800 students had passed out from this institute. Now this is very important to understand, that Film and Television Institute of India provided a lot of manpower to the Indian film industry. The Film Institute also had something called the Film Archives of India. Now, with the help of the Film Institute and the Film Archive, which had a repository of old films, international films, world films, the students of FTII were for the first time exposed to the classics of world cinema. They were exposed to different kinds of cinema. They were exposed to how cinema was being made across the world, how scripts were being written across the world. Now this was an eye-opening experience for these new students passing out from FTII. The institute trained the students, and they became this and catalyst of change that was seen in the Indian cinema industry. They were trained people, they knew what cinema was, and they necessarily did not have to adhere to the rules of the commercial cinema, because they were trained in a different orientation. But there were a few problems also inherent into this. Many of these directors were not accepted by the commercial cinema people. Some of them, their ideas, their way of filmmaking was not accepted in a commercial manner. Now this is where you have to understand that although many of the technicians found place in the commercial cinema industry, technicians including editors, cinematographers, they found acceptance, while many directors failed to find acceptance because of the way in which they perceived cinema to be. So there was a resistance from Indian commercial cinema to this kind of cinema these new directors wanted to make, and this resistance from commercial cinema actually became the fulcrum around which new cinema or alternate cinema in India arose. Because these directors did not find acceptance in the Indian commercial industry, they had to forge a path on their own. They had to make a path of their own. So alternate cinema arose from that idea. The opposition to cinema, the opposition from commercial cinema, the opposition to commercial cinema was what drove these directors to make new kind of cinema in India. And we see the whole decade of the 60s, 70s and the 80s having a whole parallel stream of such filmmakers who were being trained from the Film Institute and otherwise also. They come and make a new kind of a cinema for the Indian society. Now, as we have already talked, that some of the cinemas were not accepted commercially. There were hardly theaters who were screening them. In this kind of a scenario, there was one more thing that helped alternate cinema in India or new cinema in India. This was the film societies. Now, film societies are also called as film clubs, which played a very important role in the spread of alternate cinema. They were small clubs which were formed by like-minded people in several towns and villages and cities, where film lovers would come together and form clubs where they would watch films and talk about it and discuss films. Now, this kind of film societies or film clubs opened up the film viewing public to critical cinema. they came here, discussed, and film societies actually trained a lot of film professionals, journalists, actors, critics. So all of their training was in these film societies. In fact, in many parts of the country, even today, if you go to any town in Assam or any elsewhere, you will find film societies play still an important role. And some of these film societies actively they showcase films of world cinema as well. Now this is what is important to understand in the success of alternate cinema. The alternate cinema found space in the corridors of film societies in India. FFC Film funded, so the films that were made under FFC loans, this alternate cinema or new cinema, would touch upon sensitive issues, which touch upon issues that was afflicting society. And so these were on the edge of social criticism, and these films actually helped in stretching the boundaries of what was allowed in Indian society. So they would take on such extreme positions on those issues, and it was on the verge of being problematic. Like one of the films called Garam Hawa, MS Satyu's Garam Hawa, which was made in the year 1973, an iconic film in this series of alternate cinema in India, actually talked upon in the 1973, it was talking upon the Hindu-Muslim riots, the antipathy towards each other's religion during the riots, during the partition of India. So it touched upon a very sensitive issue. The wounds of the partition, the riot wounds of the partition hadn't healed yet, and MS Sattu exposed this wounds in his movie Garam Hawa. This was something which was not expected. This was a topic no commercial cinema would touch upon. This was something that was not even talked about in Indian society except for literature. And thus you will realize that the alternate cinema had the independence to touch upon topics that were otherwise taboo. These were almost out of bounds for commercial cinema or conventional cinema. No producer or director, no distributor would screen those films. They would create riots in society. Govind Nihalni, a very important director in alternate cinema, made a film called Akrosh. Now Akrosh in 1980 is a very important film which actually talked about corruption in society, corruption which was government corruption. Now after that, it became post 1980s, it became very fashionable to show corruption on screen. It talked about, so Govind Nihalni made Akrosh, where he was trying to show the nexus between judiciary and the powerful elites in the Indian society, and how they come together to forge relationships of power, how they exploit tribals, how they exploit the people who are marginalized. And Govind Nihalni's topic, the way or treatment he gave to this film was something very interesting. It was a path-breaking way. It was something which was not expected from an Indian film. It was something because it exposed the underbelly of Indian corruption. Corruption not only in terms of money, but in terms of power, and how power is shared between the elites, the powerful, and how they come together to exploit the marginalized. But FFC funded these films. FFC found courage somehow to fund, being also a government organization. It was tough probably, but they funded this kind of films which would also take on the establishment, which would also take on the government. Some of these topics was probably critical of the government itself, and thus the role of FFC in producing alternate cinema which made a mark in Indian cinema is very important. Its role is very important. if I may add into this series, the other filmmakers who made very important films in the alternate cinema movement, you had directors such as, of course, I had mentioned in the initial years, Satyajit Ray probably could be said as one of the important. Ritwik Ghatak was another director who was making films in Bengali but considered an alternate filmmaker, one of the very prominent alternate filmmakers in India. Girish Karnad in Karnataka was making Girish Kasaravalli was making, Adur Gopalakrishnan in Malayalam was making alternate cinema in India. So the regional areas, Bhavendranath Hoikia in Assam. So the regional filmmakers also contributed a lot to the rise of alternate cinema in India, because some of these directors did not find finance elsewhere else. The FFC later went under the larger corporation that the government created called the National Film Development Corporation, NFDC. So the NFDC funded many of these regional films which were produced by these alternate filmmakers. So in Hindi, if we look at, we look at directors such as Shyam Benegal, one of the most iconic filmmakers of the alternate cinema movement. Shyam Benegal made, he started off his journey with a classic movie called Ankur, where you find actors such as Shabana Azmi, Nasruddin Shah, Anand Gill. They start acting in these films, and they were not bankable stars of those days. They were just passed out from FTIIs and NSDs. This sort of actors came in and acted in this sort of films because they were very low budget films. Some of them acted for free in these films. Many of these technicians did the job for free in these films. So Shyam Benegal made a series of alternate cinema movement which are iconic in the stream of New Indian cinema, cinema such as Ankur, Mandi. So this kind of films created a corpus of Syed Akhtar Mirza. Okay, if I have to name another director, Syed Akhtar Mirza. So some of these filmmakers came and contributed to what we call today as the New Indian cinema, the alternate cinema, or also you can call as the art house cinema or parallel cinema. So some of these terms have been used for this kind of filmmaking, which was alternate to the Indian commercial cinema of the era. Another major ways in which the government helped this was the film festival. So the first film festival was held in 1952. It was streamlined from 1975 by the government of India, the Film Festival of India, the International Film Festival of India. And from 1978, they started a section called the Panorama, the Indian Panorama. In the Indian Panorama, most of the films that were chosen were from the alternate cinema of India. And some of this alternate cinema from the Panorama section were selected for the National Awards. So the National Awards were also constituted by the government of India in 1954, and they were most of the time given to these alternate cinema directors and actors in recognition of their work. And this cinema were taken abroad by the Indian government, taken to foreign film festivals like the Cannes Film Festival. They were taken there, and the Indian cinema was exposed to the foreign audience, and this contributed to the kind of popularity of the Indian cinema abroad. The alternate cinema also gave recognition to the Indian filmmaking tradition. If you have heard of the new cinema from cinema noir from Italy or the French New Wave, this kind of cinema gave recognition to the cinema of their country. It's the alternate cinema, the new cinema in India, which gave recognition to the Indian cinema, and it was not Bollywood which gave recognition to Indian cinema as a distinct entity. So the National Film Awards, the film festivals, the Indian film societies were some of the ways in which government promoted the films, the alternate films, and the film viewing tradition in India, and this contributed to the success of alternate cinema movement in India, because otherwise people will not go and watch these films. You have to understand this fact, and that is very important in the way in which the Film Finance Corporation, the film festivals, and they made new cinema in India. So art house cinema or alternate cinema in India, thanks to the Film Finance Corporation, Film Festival, and all other such ways in which the government So most of the audiences, then you would argue, were foreign films for foreign audiences. The urban elites, the educated, were some of the audiences which actually went and watched this film. So you will see the audiences, there was an audience which accepted the alternate cinema and rejected the excess of Bollywood. So there were audiences which accepted alternate cinema or the Indian art house cinema or new Indian cinema. So slowly and steadily they found acceptance, and but the Indian cinematic movement, the art house cinema, the new Indian cinema, towards the late 1980s and early part of the 1990s started to go down again with the reduction in the way in which FFC funded these films, and we see a slow death probably. And there is also the merging of art house cinema with commercial cinema, which I will talk about in another class. So this is what is new Indian cinema or art house cinema or parallel cinema of India. You can go back and look at some of the directors that I have named and how they contributed to one of the most richest group of cinema that India has ever seen. I will also send in the links of a few such cinema for you to watch. Thank you.